So a few people have asked me what it means to supersize your story, so I thought I'd make a quick video. Okay, so you have a story that you want to tell. It might be just the kernel of an idea, or it could be something you've been tossing around in your head actually for many years. This story could be your biography. This story could be a novel that you want to write. It could be a television series. It could be something that you know it just needs to be told. It needs to be something that is given to the world. It could be a film, a movie, it could be a documentary. It could be your brand story. It doesn't really matter the format of what your story is. What matters is that you've got something buzzing in your brain that you may have been developing actually for quite a while. It may be fully developed, or it might be just the first draft of a manuscript of your novel. You might just have the treatment a little bit mapped out of a story arc of your film or your television series. So it doesn't matter at what stage the story is. You might even have the full script written. I mean, I've worked with clients where they've come to me with a fourth or even a fifth draft of a script, still knowing that there's something just wrong with the story. It's just not quite working. And that's where Supersize Your Story comes in. So essentially, supersizing your story is to go through a process that it's a little bit, I feel like, combing through, right? You're kind of combing through your story to find where the snags are. Sometimes we have a great idea. We blast it out on the page. We kind of puke it out, which, to be honest, is probably the best way. But we don't really have a consideration in that moment because we're excited to get this idea out. We want to get it out on paper or get up on our screen. So we don't think perhaps right there where there might be the potholes that we can't see. And you know what it's like. If you're stuck in the middle of somewhere, it's not always easy to find or navigate your way out. Now, if you have a map or you have the luxury of an aerial view, then of course we can see where we're going, and that's where Supersize Your Story comes in. So Supersize Your Story is a program that runs over 10 sessions or 10 weeks if you want to do it over 10 weeks and one module a week. And it's going to help you know how to get your story to make it safe. We're not going to tear it up into tiny little squares and throw it all away like confetti. You need to know your story will be safe in the Supersize Your Story process. We're just going to park it to one side. Then we're going to go through this process where we take a look at potentially where those potholes or those snags are. We're going to take a look at whether you're writing in the style of the genre that you're intending. We're going to take a look at who your preferred demographic of audience or reader are and how your story looks when it's lined up against that lens of that audience. We're going to take a look at the platforms that you're perhaps hoping to tell the story over. And now this is quite a big consideration, okay? So I'm not here to change your mind. That's not what this is. But sometimes, actually many times, I've seen a story that perhaps is mapped as a movie or a TV series. For many reasons, it could just be down to production budgets, or it could be trends or windows. There might be a recommendation or suggestion that you actually tell that story perhaps first as a novel, for example. There's a lot of less barriers to entry. You obviously could even go down the self-publishing route with that, so that's a different conversation. But we'll take a look at your story through lots of different lenses. We look at your characters. We look at your character's arc. We look at your story arc. We look at the harmony and the symphonies of your story. We look at your story to see if maybe you're wasting time in certain areas that you don't need to waste time or stay in. So supersizing your story means, again, you come to this program with maybe just the kernel of your idea, and it will help you to make the idea much more robust, more swiftly and more efficiently, and it will be a much tighter story at the end. But then sometimes you do this process at the very end when you've got it mapped out. I know some people also need to come to Supersize Your Story and have done with a third, fourth, or maybe even a fifth draft. They just know something's not working with the story. So the trouble is, at that stage, you're in it so deep, it's extra hard to step away. So it's kind of, the way I would say it is like you're combing it through, right? You're going through this Supersize Your Story process. We're going to treat that story very gently, almost as if it's Lego, if you like. So we're going to slowly dismantle your story. We're going to put all those pieces on the table. We're not throwing anything away. As you go through the Supersize Your Story process and the program, you're going to strategically and gently, but confidently, put those Lego pieces back together. Now, I would say most of the time you will find that there are pieces left on the table that do not go back in the story. And my guess from experience is you're going to be okay with that in that moment. There's going to be pieces left on that table. And perhaps you'll realise that was a desire from you just to put that in. It's kind of like killing your darlings, right? Or maybe this desire from you to have this thing in here that's actually blocking it. But we're not going to throw them away. We're going to take them away. We're going to put them on the table. And depending on the platform you want to tell the story over, obviously we discussed this as we move through the process, those pieces that are left on the table could just be perhaps the seeds of something new that you're planting, maybe some ancillary content, something that amplifies your main story. It could be just another story that you're going to tell somewhere else. So in a nutshell, I know it's quite a big one, that's what Supersize Your Story is. And who is it for? It's for authors and writers, strategists, producers, directors, development execs, ad agencies or brands. Even for you, you might be a speaker or an expert in something and you want to try to get your personal story told to the right people. So if you want to check out an introduction to Supersize Your Story, just to give you an insight, it's a very short kind of mini 4-module program. They'll give you a flavour of the bigger program. And I also love to kind of get any ideas or suggestions or hints or just your experience of working through an introduction to Supersize Your Story, and let me know where you feel there might be tweaks that you're not getting that you would need. But also I would really be interested to hear if any of you would have any suggestions that you'd like me to address. And if you're interested in the full 10-module Supersize Your Story program, email me or us at info@supersizeyourstory.com and we can get onto a Zoom call, have a quick call, have a chat, see if it's right for you. It's no good you embarking on it if you don't feel it's right for you. And if having a chat with me to confirm that it is or isn't, whichever way it might go, is often a good first step. So don't be shy. Let me know if you want to have a chat. I'm completely happy. I love talking to people, as you probably could have guessed. Thank you. Bye.